महामना मदन मोहन मालवीय जी के चित्र पर माल्यार्पण कर दीपक प्रज्वलन कर कार्यक्रम का आरंभ करें। माननीय मुख्य अतिथि विशिष्ट अतिथि अध्यक्ष महोदय, और मैं इस हेतु वैदिक मंगलाचरण के लिए शीतांशु पांडे जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि आप आकर वैदिक मंगलाचरण।
हरि ओम सदा सुस्पति मदभूतं प्रियमिन्द्रस्य काम्यं सनिमेधामयासि ककुसवाहा मेधां मे वरुणो ददातु मेधामग्निः प्रजापतिः मेधामिन्द्रश्च वायुश्च मेधान् धाता ददातु मे स्वाहा जदग्रामे जदरण्ये जत्सभायां जदिन्द्रिये जदेनश्च करेमा वयमिदं तदवयजामहे स्वाहा इमामे अग्न इष्टकाधेनवः सन्तवेका च दश च दश च शतं च शतं च सहस्रं च सहस्रं चायुतं चायुतं च नियुतं च परायुतं चार्बुदं च न्यर्बुदं च समुद्रश्च मदीयन् चान्तश्च परार्थश्चैतामे अग्न इष्टकाधेनवः सन्त्वमुतरामुकमिल्लोके हरिः ओम।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। वैदिक मंत्रों से ये पूरा प्रांगण गुंजायमान हुआ। अब मंगल ध्वनि के बाद से काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय की एक महनीय परंपरा है कि हम सब कुलगीत के माध्यम से अपने इस प्रांगण को धन्य करते हैं। तो मैं कुलगीत के गायन हेतु सुश्री नेहा सिंह और सुश्री सोनल सिंह को आमंत्रित करता हूं, जो वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र की छात्रा हैं। आप आकर कुलगीत प्रस्तुत करें।
नहीं ठीक है। मधुर मनोहर अतीव सुंदर ये सर्ववेद्या की राजधानी राजधानी मधुर मनोहर अतीव सुंदर ये सर्ववेद्या की राजधानी राजधानी ये तीन लोकों से न्यारी काशी सुज्ञान धर्म और सत्य राशि बसी है गंगा की रम्य तट पर ये सर्ववेद्या की राजधानी राजधानी नए नहीं है ये ईंट पत्थर है विश्वकर्मा का कार्य सुंदर रचे हैं विद्या के भव्य मंदिर ये सर्व सृष्टि की राजधानी राजधानी यहाँ की है शिक्षा कि सत्य पहले फिर आत्मरक्षा। बीके हरिश्चंद्र थे यहीं पर ये सत्य शिक्षा की राजधानी राजधानी। वेद ईश्वर की सत्य बानी बने जिन्हें पढ़ के ब्रह्म ज्ञानी। थे व्यास जी ने रचे यहीं पर ये ब्रह्म विद्या की राजधानी राजधानी। वो मुक्ति पद को दिलाने वाले सुधर्म पथ पर चलाने वाले यहीं फले फूले बुद्ध शंकर ये राज ऋषियों की राजधानी राजधानी। सुरम्य धाराएं वरुणा अस्सी नहाए जिनमें कबीर तुलसी। भला हो कविता का क्यों न आकर ये वाग विद्या की राजधानी राजधानी। विविध कला अर्थशास्त्र गायन गणित खनिज औषधि रसायन। प्रतीचि प्राची का मेल सुंदर ये विश्वविद्या की राजधानी राजधानी। ये मालवीय जी की देश भक्ति ये उनका साहस ये उनकी शक्ति प्रकट हुई है नवीन होकर ये कर्मवीरों की राजधानी राजधानी। मधुर मनोहर अतीव सुंदर ये सर्व विद्या की राजधानी राजधानी।
जैसा कि विश्वविद्यालय का एक अपना एक ये पुण्य गीत कहा जाता है, कुल गीत को पुण्य का गीत कहा जाता है, तो करतल ध्वनि नहीं करते हैं। ये एक महनीय परंपरा है कि जब हम कुल गीत गाते हैं तो करतल ध्वनि नहीं बजाते हैं। अब इसी क्रम में मैं माल्यार्पण मुख्य अतिथियों का माल्यार्पण हेतु मैं काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय के आयुर्वेद विभाग के प्रोफेसर एच अवस्थी सर से निवेदन करता हूं कि आप जो वेद के महान विद्वान हैं और हम लोग के आदरणीय पूज्य गुरु जी श्री प्रोफेसर हृदय रंजन शर्मा गुरु जी को आप माल्यार्पण कर स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। प्रोफेसर एच अवस्थी जी, अब आप करतल ध्वनि के साथ स्वागत करें। और आपके बारे में जितना भी कहा जाए कम है। आपने वेद के हेतु बहुत सारा योगदान किया है। 250-300 छात्रों को आपने वेद की ऋचाओं के द्वारा वेद के मंत्रों के द्वारा उनके अंदर एक अच्छा उद्गार हो और वो भविष्य में एक नया एक भारत बना सके, कि नवीन भारत का नवीन भारतीयकरण का करने का आपने जो कार्य किया, इसके हेतु आपका जितना भी सम्मान किया जाए वो कम है। और हम इसी क्रम में अब मैं मृत्युंजय देव पांडे सर से अनुरोध करता हूं कि मैं प्रोफेसर विजय शंकर शुक्ल जी का आप माल्यार्पण कर स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। हम अपने अतिथियों का जो माल्यार्पण करते हैं वो एक औपचारिकता तो होती ही है, लेकिन हम इसलिए करते हैं ताकि एक नई परंपरा जो हमारे पास है उस परंपरा का सम्मान होता है। हम वेद जगत से होते हैं और वेद जगत में परंपरा का एक बहुत महान योगदान कहा गया है, तो इसी हेतु हम परंपरा का सम्मान करते हैं। और परंपरा के सम्मान के क्रम में ही अब हम काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र के समन्वयक और गुरु जी का ऐसा आदेश हुआ कि जिन्होंने इस पूरी पुस्तक पे अपना पूरा समय दिया है, सामान्य पुस्तक नहीं है, हमने तो पढ़ा है, क्योंकि ये कृष्ण यजुर्वेद से रिलेटेड पुस्तक है और हम कृष्ण यजुर्वेद के ही हम छात्र हैं, तो हमें इस पुस्तक के बारे में मालूम है। आपने बहुत मेहनत किया है। आपके माल्यार्पण हेतु मैं काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र के समन्वयक प्रोफेसर उपेंद्र कुमार तिवारी सर से निवेदन करता हूं कि आप माल्यार्पण कर स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। इसी क्रम में हम विधि शास्त्र के महान विद्वान अनुप सर से एक बार निवेदन करता हूं कि आप आकर वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र के समन्वयक प्रोफेसर उपेंद्र कुमार तिवारी सर का आप माल्यार्पण कर स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। आज ये जो प्रकल्प आपको दिख रहा है उसमें गुरु जी का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है और इस हेतु इस महनीय परंपरा का सम्मान है। धन्यवाद आप सभी का सम्मान हेतु। अब मैं बहुत समय न लेते हुए काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र के समन्वयक प्रोफेसर उपेंद्र कुमार त्रिवेदी सर से निवेदन करता हूं कि आकर स्वागत उद्बोधन प्रदान करें।
सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यंतां वंदे गुरु परंपरा। वैदिक संस्कृति समिति हैदराबाद द्वारा आयोजित अरुण प्रश्न का विज्ञान विषयक आज एक पुस्तक विमोचन के इस कार्यक्रम की अध्यक्षता कर रहे वेद के विश्रुत विद्वान गुरुवर प्रोफेसर हृदय रंजन शर्मा जी, विशिष्ट अतिथि प्रोफेसर विजय शंकर शुक्ल जी जो वेद के प्रतीचि और प्राची दोनों विद्वान हैं, और इस ग्रंथ के लेखक सीताराम अय्या गारी जी जो यहाँ हैदराबाद से और आप विदेश में रहते हैं और आपकी ही पुस्तक है, आप यहाँ पर मंच पर विराजमान हैं। मैं केंद्र की ओर से आपका अभिनंदन करते हैं, स्वागत करते हैं। हमारे बीच हमारे सम्मुख प्रोफेसर जयप्रकाश लाल जी हैं जो कृषि विज्ञान संस्थान में डिस्टिंग्विश प्रोफेसर हैं। प्रोफेसर सुमन जैन मैडम हैं, हिंदी विभाग के आचार्य हैं। डॉक्टर DS त्रिपाठी जी हैं, पर्यावरण वैज्ञानिक हैं। डॉक्टर अनूप जी हैं, लॉ के विधि के विद्वान हैं काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय में। प्रोफेसर HH अवस्थी जी जो आयुर्वेद संकाय में विद्वान हैं और इस हमारे वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र के गेस्ट फैकल्टी हैं। प्रोफेसर वर्मा सर जो आज हमारे बीच अतिथि के रूप में उपस्थित हैं। आप उत्तर प्रदेश शासन से आज एक मीटिंग थी उसमें आप आए थे, आपका भी विशेष रूप से मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं इस कार्यक्रम में। प्रोफेसर मृत्युंजय देव जी, ये आप रसायन शास्त्र के काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय के विद्वान हैं। प्रोफेसर मृत्युंजय देव जी, प्रोफेसर कार्तिकेय श्रीवास्तव जी एग्रीकल्चर साइंस के जो है कृषि वैज्ञानिक हमारे काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय के विज्ञान संस्थान में, और हमारे प्रोफेसर श्रवण कुमार जी आप भी कृषि विज्ञान के विद्वान हैं। और हैदराबाद से इस वेद संस्कृति समिति से उपस्थित यहाँ पर अनेक शुद्धिजन यहाँ उपस्थित हैं, अनेक भातृगण भगिनीगण यहाँ उपस्थित हैं, छात्रगण हमारे केंद्र से जुड़े हुए हैं और कृष्ण मुरारी जी जो हमारे इस प्रोग्राम को संयोजन कर रहे हैं। सबका समवेत रूप से अभिनंदन करता हूँ। देखिए, विषय आज का जो ग्रंथ का है वो है अरुण प्रश्न का विज्ञान। देखिए, अरुण से सामान्य तौर पर हम जानते हैं सविता जो है सूर्य है, और हमारे यहाँ कहा गया सविता प्रसविता। सविता जो है सभी को अपने अपने कार्यों में संलग्न करती है। यह सविता जो है सभी को अपने अपने कार्यों में, जैसे कि जब सूर्योदय होगा, सभी सूर्योदय होने के बाद हमारी दिनचर्या प्रारंभ हो जाती है, सभी अपने कर्तव्यों में संलग्न हो जाते हैं। इसीलिए हमारे यहाँ सायण ने सविता शब्द का कहा सविता प्रसविता, जो सभी को अपने अपने कार्यों में संलग्न करे। तो ऐसे जो अरुण प्रश्न जो कि कृष्ण यजुर्वेद के तैत्तिरीय आरण्यक के प्रथम अध्याय में जो अनुवाक हैं और उस पूरे अनुवाक में जो मंत्र हैं उसका एक वैज्ञानिक एनालिसिस आपके द्वारा इस ग्रंथ में किया गया है, जो अभी विमोचन होगा, आप लोगों को वितरित भी आपके द्वारा किया जाएगा। और आप विज्ञान के अध्येता होने के साथ साथ दक्षिण भारत में विशेष रूप से यह एक बहुत बड़ी चीज है कि अपने शाखा स्वाध्याय के क्रम में अपने शाखा का स्वाध्याय, हमारे यहाँ क्या स्वाध्यायोधितव्य, स्वाध्याय शब्द का ही मतलब है स्व शाखा का अध्ययन करना। तो स्व शाखा, भले वो साइंटिस्ट हो चाहे वो किसी भी कार्य क्षेत्र में जाएं, लेकिन जो अपनी स्व शाखा होता है उस स्व शाखा का वो गुरुमुखोच्चारणानुच्चारण क्रम में वो अध्ययन करते हैं। तो उस परंपरा का मुझे लगता है कि सीताराम जी उसका अनुपालन किए हैं और अमेरिका में रहते हैं, आप साइंटिस्ट हैं और आपसे कई बार टेलीफोनिक और मेल पर चर्चा हुई और आपकी इच्छा थी कि वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र में इस पुस्तक का विमोचन हो, तो हमें तो ऐसे लोगों को यहाँ पर इकट्ठा करने का अवसर मिला। तो मैं ज़्यादा समय न लेते हुए, क्योंकि इस ग्रंथ में जो विषय दिए गए हैं वो उसके विषय में चर्चा हमारे माननीय हमारे आचार्य ग्रहण करेंगे, लेकिन सामान्य तौर पर जो हमारे पास जो एक पत्रक है उसमें अरुण प्रश्न, जिसे सूर्य नमस्कार के रूप में जाना जाता है, सूर्य भगवान जो सूर्य देवता की पूजा करने के लिए सभी वेद मंत्रों में सबसे महत्वपूर्ण माना जाता है। यजुर्वेद के तैत्तिरीय आरण्य के प्रथम प्रश्न में संपूर्ण अरुण प्रश्न मंत्र मिलते हैं। इसे सूर्य नमस्कार प्रसन्नम कहते हैं। और इसके संदर्भ में इसमें जो विषय है उस विषयों को इसमें बताया गया है कि जब जप किया जाता है तो संप्रदाय प्रत्येक पंचायती अनुच्छेद के अंत में वैकल्पिक रूप में प्रत्येक अनुवाकम में समापन में अपनी स्वास्थ्य स्थिति के आधार पर सूर्य की ओर मुख करके साष्टांग नमस्कार की पेशकश करना यह संप्रदाय है। मुझे लगता है कि जो हमने सूर्य नमस्कार की जो भी एक जो विधा है, जो योग में जो सूर्य नमस्कार का क्रम है, देखिए जो भी हमारी जितने भी शास्त्र हैं वो वेद मूलक ही है। वेद में उसको मूल रूप में मिलता है, प्रतीक रूप में मिलता है, उसी का विस्तार हमें शास्त्रों में प्राप्त होता है। तो मुझे लगता है कि इस विषय में प्रकाश हमारे आचार्यगण और आप ही करेंगे। ज्यादा समय न लेते हुए सभी का मैं सम्मिलित रूप से सबका मैं अभिनंदन करता हूँ, स्वागत करता हूँ।
बहुत धन्यवाद आचार्य जी, आपने बड़े कम शब्दों में स्वागत भी किया और विषय के ऊपर अपना प्रकाश भी डाला। अब जिसके लिए हम सब बैठे हैं वो अवसर, वो क्षण आ चुका है। पुस्तक विमोचन हेतु मैं आदरणीय महनीय विद्वानों से विनम्र निवेदन करता हूं और हमारे समक्ष जो काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय के रत्न कहे जाते, सभी आप बड़े हैं, आप थोड़े सुधीजन हैं और सभी आप आ जाएं और पुस्तक के विमोचन होती है। हम आपसे साग्रह प्रार्थना करता हूं कि स्टेज पे आए सभी आदरणीय प्रोफेसर बंधु और आके पुस्तक विमोचन होती आए। और आप लोग मंगल ध्वनि के साथ करतल ध्वनि भी करें, जिससे पता चले कि ये प्रांगण में कुछ ऐसी ऊर्जा हो रही है। जी जी, हाँ, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जिस सरस्वती की उपासना आपने की है, उस सरस्वती की उपासना का ये फलस्वरूप काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय में जो फल मिल रहा है, ये सामान्य विषय नहीं है। बोलते हैं कि हम जो भी पढ़ाई करते हैं या जो भी करते हैं काशी में उसकी परीक्षा होती है। तो आपने अभी तो इस पुस्तक का विमोचन और भी जगहों पे कराने का बड़ा प्रयास था आपका, और ये लेकिन काशी में आपका बहुत मन था कि काशी में हो और काशी में महामना जी की तपोभूमि में हो। ये बहुत ही अत्यंत गौरव का बात है। सादर साभार पुनः एक बार करतल ध्वनि के साथ आप सभी वंदन और अभिनंदन करें। आप सब, इनके परिवार के लोग भी आए हैं, अमेरिका में जो इनके परिवार के लोग रहते हैं सभी आप आए और एक फोटो सेशन हो जाए आपके इस पुस्तक का। आप लोगों ने बड़ा परिश्रम किया है, तभी इन्होंने ऐसी पुस्तक लिखी है। जो सामान्य तौर पर अमेरिका में जो रहते हैं वो अपने जॉब और उन्हीं सब में व्यस्त होते हैं, ऐसे कार्य करने में समय कम होता है, तो घर की जो अर्धांगिनी होती है बड़ा सहयोग करती हैं। तो आप सभी आए और इस विषय में आप सभी का धन्यवाद और हृदय से आभार वंदन करते हैं। करतल ध्वनि के साथ स्वागत करते रहें, उत्साहवर्धन होता रहे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सभी महनीय आचार्य गणों को। और मैं सीताराम अयंगारी जी से निवेदन करता हूं कि आए और अपने विषय को बताएं कि इन्होंने क्या लिखा है उसमें, जिससे सभी को पता चले कि आखिर में ये सही में क्वांटम फिजिक्स है कि क्या है। तो इस विषय में मैं सादर आमंत्रित करता हूं प्रोफेसर।
Hello, 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 hello. So here?
Yes, sir. You can take it here also.
Yeah. Namaste. Good evening. I'm Sitaram Ayagari from Houston, Texas. My native place is Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh, East Godavari district. Today I am here with the blessings of so many people, help of so many people. First, I would like to thank Vedic Vijnana Kendram, Banaras Hindu University for organizing this one. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Sri Dr. Upendra Kumar Tripathi ji for, for all the communication, conversations, emails exchange. Am I echoing? Oh, that's what I done. So also, I would like to extend another my sincere thanks to none other than Sri Ganapati Sri Krishna Murari Tripathi ji. I know it's a very tough job. Lot of phone calls, lot of conversations. And thanks for a lot of patience. And I would like to thank Dr. Hridaya Ranjan Sharma ji for coming all the way for my book launch. Thank you so much. And also Dr. Vijay Shankar Shukla ji, thank you so much for coming all the way for a nice evening today. And also today is Sharit Tridoshi, Pradosham today, a very auspicious day and Kartika Masam, and a lot of people do this, especially in places like Kashi. Everyone will be at Abhishekams. So when you come in here, I mean, it means a lot to me. So thank you so much. So, coming without wasting much time, we would like to come back to our today's topic, the science of Aruna Prashna. My Shakha is Krishna Yajurveda Shakha, Adhyayi, and I have been practicing Shukla Yajurvedam for since 2003, I think. I don't remember exactly, but it's bits and pieces like a rainy season, every now and then. But more sincerely, I started from 2005. So from then onwards, I did not waste any time. So after office, directly go to my guru's place. That's the temple, Tri-State Temple in Houston, Dayton, Ohio. He is a Ganapati. His name is Ramesh Rajamani. So I go there. I take bath. I change my clothes, get into the temple, and start learning from him. So he will teach some verses. He will go back to the puja and entertain, do the archanas and everything. He will come back. He will teach me something. He will go back. In the meanwhile, I'll be practicing. So that's how it went for a few years. Then I came to Houston, Texas in 2007. I'm very fortunate to meet late Ganapadigal, none other than Uday Kumar Sharma Gullapudi. So he taught me so much stuff in there. He taught me a little bit of Sanskrit. He taught me Ganapada for Ashirvachanas and main pujas and all that. I'm very grateful to him, but unfortunately he passed away. But of course, he will be listening from the heavens and see my presentation today. So that is that. Okay. So the journey started answering my son when I'm teaching him this Aruna Prashna. So Aruna Prashna is very interesting. It is not a narration from left to right or the first page to next page. It has got lot of questions, lot of answers, lot of follow-up questions, lot of follow-up answers, and also there are stories. So he's keep on asking me why a story in a ritual. He's expecting some name like stotras and things like that, personification of God in multi-directional. But suddenly Aruna Prashna will have a lot of stories. So he asked me what is the stories all about and also how it is relevant today. So that made me think from since 2016 I started working on my way out, and I'm able to put this particular book because the next generation especially they need to know and appreciate what is there in our Vedas. So it is not simply just a chanting, memorizing and doing some puja, but there is a lot of information behind these sutras. By definition, sutra is very simple, unrepetitive, informative, infallible and all that. So each line has got so much insight. Each verse has got so much insight. Each mantra has got so much insight. So I did my best as my first attempt to write a book, something like this. So, oh, this is again sleeping. Yes. So, oh, donkey. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. So today's outline is so Vedas and Vedangas. I know you're all Vedic students. It is my general presentation, so it is just for everyone's benefit. I just put few slides. I will skip, zap through, and I will get to the main subject in few minutes. So I will go through Vedas and Vedangas and Pramanas, Darshanas, Mimamsa, and Apurva in its a second. Then I will talk about my frameworks that I used to analyze this under Prashna. Then I will talk about the books, the topics that I covered in the book. Then today's topic is only limited for only two topics. One is Earth, other one is gravity. Then I will talk about what is modern science, where the modern science stand today on these two topics, and I will explain what Aruna Prashna's standpoint on what Aruna Prashna is saying from my perspective. So then I will talk about the conclusions and also how to go from here, next steps, because it is not and it is just the beginning of first step out of maybe 100 steps or maybe 1,000 steps, but definitely it is the first step in this direction. So let's see the frameworks and go through these slides. Next. Yeah, sorry. So we have I just put a very simple diagram. Vedas are four Vedas: Rig, Yajur, Samaveda and Atharvana Veda. Then we have got every Veda has got four parts to it: Samhita, Aranyakam, Brahmanam and Upanishads. Then we have to analyze this one, understand this one. We have got Vedangas, which are limbs of Vedas, which is called body parts of the Vedas. Each one has got its own significance. So we will go with the Siksha, which talks about the annotations and how to pronounce and how to move the hands in some Vedas. Then we will look about the Kalpa, how to prepare, how to perform an yajna. And Vyakarana, it is a grammar, and Niruptam, which is the etymology of words, etymology of words, and the Chandas, which talks about the meter, which dictates so many things. Of course, you are all well versed with it. Next is the Jyotisha. It is not the simple astrology where we have kundalis for our birth stars. It is to figure out the auspicious day and the time and the location for a given yajna. This Jyotisha is strictly for performing the yajna at the right time to make it more effective. So improve the effectivity. Next, when I'm talking about the pramanas in Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, we have got the 6 pramanas: Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda, Anupalabdhi, and Ardhabhatya and Anupalabdhi. Why I said this one is I would like to highlight an Shabda. Shabda is a pramana which is the Vedas or Shruti, what you call, then a testimony of what experts sometimes. That the Pratyaksha is the sensory and the extended sensory perception. Anumana is the reasoning. Upamana is comparing and analogy, and Anupalabdhi circumstantial implications. Ardhabati circumstantial implication. Anupalabdhi is negative perception. And here I stop a minute and talk about the Shabda. Out of all these pramanas, science accepts only two pramanas. One is Pratyaksha, the other one is Anumana. All four are for Shruti and Shruti and Shabdas, I mean, for our Hindu philosophy. But the scientists, when they put this cap of the scientist, they believe only two things. One is Pratyaksha, the other one is Anumana. Let's go. Then we have got darshanas. I'm not talking about the darshanas here, but I would like to emphasize the importance of one particular aspect of these darshanas. So the Nyaya Vaisheshika, there are three groups. So each group has got two darshanas. One is Nyaya Vaisheshika is one group, Sankhya Yoga is one group, and Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa is one group based on one type of category. So here I bolded the Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa just to highlight it is the Mimamsaka. Mimamsaka is like scientists. They believe in Pratyaksha Navana, but also they believe in Apurva, which scientists may and may not believe. So the importance of Apurva we'll see in a minute. And the so Mimamsaka standpoint. So what do they believe on Shabda? So for them, Veda is being Anadi and it's timeless. Then Apaurishaya, it is unauthorized by anyone, and Swatah Pramana, it is valid in and of itself, and it is the most important and infallible Shabda. So they believe in Shabda Veda is right. If something somewhere we have a doubt, that is right, and we will we will find out a reason to be right in some other way. Next, Apurva. Apurva is very important for Mimamsakas. So Apurva means results of action will not be seen at the time of performing the action, but you will see some other time where which is perceivable. Perceivable results will come some other time. For example, is the Putrakamesh Yagam. When you do the Putrakamesh Yagam, you don't see the results right away. It takes some time. In the same thing with Ramayana, in Mahabharata, we have got so many examples of so many yagas where results will not be seen right away, but eventually they will happen in due course. So that's called Apurva, and I believe I'm a Mimamsaka. I believe in Apurva, and this whole thing is based on my Mimamsaka standpoint of my version. So then the Aruna Prashna, and of course Dr. Tripathi gave a brief on Aruna Prashna. Here it is housed in Krishna Yajurveda Aranyakam. Out of 5 Prapatakas, this is the first Prapataka, and it contains 32 Anvakas, 132 mantras. The mantras of Aruna deals largely with the Surya Upasana, also known as Suryopanishad. It is conventionally practiced for several things. I just mentioned a few: life enhancement, progeny, removal of eye disorders, banishment of untimely death, and etc. And also, it covered as a science student, it covered a wide variety of topics. It's not just one topic or 2 topics; it's a wide variety of topics. And also everything is in sutras, as I said. So a highly compressed, encoded information is available. So we have to decode it and expand it, so it makes more sense to the current generation. It is not okay. Let me give you a disclaimer. It is not that no one understood this one before. They understood, but the language of their understanding, their communication is different. Today, we don't have that kind of communication. For example, earlier everyone in Bharat used to speak Sanskrit. But today, if somebody talks in Sanskrit, no one understands. It is not that Sanskrit is not useless. It is the best of the best, but it's not in use. So that similarly, the meanings of the mantras also, a lot of people understood, but when they communicate, we are not ready to receive that information. So that's this one is for the current generation. It's not for Veda Pandits. It is just for people like me and my son. So, oh sorry, I have to explain this one. So my framework is very simple. It's a 4-step framework. When I see a verse or a mantra, first I will try to understand the subject of the mantra, because one mantra in the Shastras, one mantra may be applicable, may be valid in multiple areas. So I always give one example, but I will give you the same example again. When we see the Gauri Mimai Salilane Rakshati, that mantra is actually starts with Gauri. So that means when you do a Gauri Puja, we'll use that Gauri mantra and do the prayer. But But Gauri is the mantra is actually talking about Saraswati, Vagdevata, Parapashyanti, Parapashyanti, Madhyama Vaikari. So when you take that framework, then the Gauri is become the Saraswati Devi. When you talk about the Navagraha pujas, Gauri is akin to Chandra, la moon. So when this mantra you chant, when you chant for the Chandra. So the mantra is the same thing, but the meaning changes based on the context. So the context, the subject is very important. Is it Gauri? Is it Saraswati? It is moon, or is it anything else? So first we have to identify the subject. How do we? So the subject may not be available in one verse or one mantra. Maybe we have to see sometimes we need to more than one mantra or one anuvaka completely. Maybe a couple of anvakas. But one way or the other, you should be able to identify a subject which will be meaningful for all the mantras. Okay. Next, acquiring subject related knowledge. When you think about it, sunlight or a moon, you should know lot more information about a moon. Chanting the mantra 100 times is different from understanding what actually moon stands for. What are all the things moon stands for? Moon stands for so many things. It's not just the moon. A planet which is rotating around the moon. It has got so many things in it. So what aspect of moon we are talking about? If you talk about a plant, we should think about a lot more about the plants. If you talk about Saraswati, Vagdevata, you should know how to communicate, how the sound propagates. All that information you should know. By the way, the Gauri Vimaya Salayana Takshiti, not only Gauri, Saraswati and Chandra, if it is a mathematician or if it is a physics student which we may not believe in any of these gods, still it talks about the arithmetic equation, arithmetic progression. Ekapadi is 1, Dvipadi is 2, Chatushpadi is 4, Astabadi is 8, Navapadi is new. So it is talking about the progression. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, whatever number, as long as you can count. So that's a progression. It's talking about the progression. Then you have to see the mantras which are used earlier or after Gauri Maya in that particular context and see whether the mathematical progression makes sense. Okay. Next is applying the knowledge. Applying knowledge to the interpretation. Once you know the respective knowledge, once you start talking about the moon or even the sun or a sunlight or botany, geology, gravity, whatever topic it is, once you know they acquire all the information, then you should start applying that information to the verses. That's the key. But first two steps are independent. Then you have to meaningfully combine those two spheres, right? Then additional knowledge. Additional knowledge is very important because in mantras and some mantras it's only 3 rutus explained. What does it mean? Is it 3 or only mentioned 3? They know all the 6 but only mentioned 3, or at that time only 3 seasons are available. That clarification you need. For that you need extra information. You borrow from anywhere, but you should know all the information. That's why I put it. Culture is important, history is important, law of the land, geography, weather patterns, etc. So if I say 6 seasons, when mantra talks about the 6 seasons, that means he was somewhere close to equator. He is not a northern hemisphere or a southern hemisphere because they don't have 6 seasons. As simple as that. So that particular mantra is surely available, is surely applicable only, what is that? Land mass that is around the equator. Next. So I have covered 6 topics in the Aruna Prashna, starting with the Bhumi, Vayumandala, that's the atmospheric layers, then Varsha, the rains, Gurutvakarshana, gravity, Surya Rasmi, the electromagnetic radiation, and Yajna Bandham, quantum entanglement. So I'd like to talk about only 2 topics which are bolded, is the Bhumi and Gurutvakarsanam. We will see how much I can cover. So my approach for this presentation is, first I will talk about the subject, that Earth, and I will talk about the relevant science quickly. Then I will talk about the traditional interpretation which is available today. Then I will talk about the scientific interpretation that I came up with. So this is our universe. This is our universe. So on the right hand side you see a big cup. which was tilted. So that's actually our universe today. Right after the Big Bang, it took 13.7 billion, 13.8 billion years to wherever we stand. This is that it took 13.8 billion years where we stand. It is expanding further, but we do not know what's going to happen or when what's going to happen in future. But scientists trying to figure out what's going to happen to our universe tomorrow. This is called Big Bang theory. The first one is strictly for Big Bang. It describes how the universe expanded from initial state of high density and temperature. If you can see, sorry, if you can see, there is a white light. There is no material. There is no gluons. There is no quarks. Nothing is there. It's just energy, high density, high temperature energy. And it went when the Big Bang happened, the inflation happened. That means like our prices skyrocketing. It just expanded in 20 minutes, and then it started cooling for a few million years. Then it started expanding the way we have. Then the first element has started with quarks. We will see in a minute. So basically what it says is it happened once and it is expanding ever since. That's the Big Bang theory. And none of the theories are 100% accurate. They have their merits, they have demerits. And even Big Bang theory has got a lot of problems, unanswered questions. So then we have got the big bounce. The big bounce means it is repetitive. So it expands some point and then it starts contraction. Then again it starts expanding. That's called big bounce in simplistic words. Then epirotic. So this is also a cosmology model, but however this one says it will be like this. Like you can imagine what is that, amoeba. And if you see in the Discovery Channel, amoeba like this. So they said this contraction expansion is continuously happening. That's that. Then so we talked about the universe. Then we are more concerned about our solar system. Whatever happens 13 billion years ago, we don't care about today. That's just a knowledge. But what we are more concerned about our solar system, our planet and our sun. So if we talk about the solar system is actually analyzed by nebular hypothesis. There are so many hypotheses, but this nuclear hypothesis or nebular hypothesis is most winning hypothesis. So solar system started with the solar nebula. Nebula is nothing; it's just gas and dust. Then it's like it's all over in the space. Then some external turbulence happened. Then all the pieces, all the gas molecules started jumping and up and down. Then there is a gravity. So the collapse subsequently led to the formation of protoplanetary disk. This is the diagram is protoplanetary disk. Whatever you see, it is full of dust and gas. And here in the middle, you have got sun. So when it is started compressing further, the first one emerged is sun. But still, apart from the sun, there is so much gas and so much dust. So subsequently, those also started, bombarding, colliding, fission is happening, and subsequently other planets also happen. But solar gas is still there. It is safe. Dust is still available in the cosmos. So, and more than the solar system, out of the solar system, what we were worried about is our Earth. So our Earth has got a lot of elements, right? So attempts to explain the origin of elements found both on Earth throughout the universe using the nuclear physics. So Earth is more analyzed based on the nucleogenesis. Nucleogenesis is nothing. So it is basically how the nucleus at the time they started analyzing at the nuclear level. So in the nucleus we have protons and neutrons, right? But these protons and neutrons are also formed by something called quarks. And the quarks are independent quantum particles, but they are glued. They're glued by gluons. So if I see the proton, I have got two up quarks and one down quark. And if whatever is the wave, that's called a gluon. That's what is a gum. It binds them together. And for the neutron, it is a 3 gluons, but the thing is Here is one up quark and two down quarks. That's the only difference. With these, first hydrogen atom has come in, then fission using with from hydrogen atom emerged, and interaction between hydrogen nucleus formed helium, then it went to lithium, then beryllium, then stopped. After some time, then the hydrogen heavy atoms came up with the deuterium and tritium. Then remaining higher elements from carbon all the way to iron, they formed over a period of time. Scientists believe to be produced via thermonuclear fusion during various stages of stellar evolution. It's not happened overnight, it took billions of years. Now, all the so there are man-made heavier elements and natural heavy elements. So some of them actually came from supernova. So whatever jewelry you guys are wearing, the gold, it is actually product of supernova. Some supernova happens, some collapses, you will get the gold. Anyway, so that's that. So then the most important element for us to live is water. That's the difference between Earth and all other planets. So the sources of water is strictly unknown, but we have got hypothesis. Scientists came up with hypothesis, and they said some believe more than half of the water Earth is older than the sun itself, and has come from the outer solar system. Some people actually believe it's come from the Jupiter or one of the planets of Jupiter. And some believe all the water came from the icy planetesimals, like small cubes. They came that collided with Earth. Then some believe the water trapped with the rocky meteoroids. So meteoroids keep on hitting Earth. Inside the meteoroids there is water, and once they hit, the water emerged and water stayed there. But whatever is, somehow water came in, and we have got so much heat because of the thermonuclear process or fissions or whatever. Water evaporated and it formed dark clouds. Eventually it came down with rains and the cycle started somehow, but there is no concrete, these are all hypotheses. So again, everything has got their own merits and demerits. Now, after the water, what's more important is life. So how the life came in, that is explained by abiogenesis, right? So it came with a singular cell organism, and it went to multi-cell organisms. So yeah, cyanobacteria came into being, and it is thought to have produced the first quantities of oxygen. So they believe that cyanobacteria actually produce this oxygen. So oxygen led to the formation of ozone protective layer, and it went over. But till date, we did not produce a single cell on our own. It's all God made. Next. Now the Aruna Prashna has come. So Aruna Prashna means it is a Prashna. It is not, Prashna means not just a question, it is in-depth analysis, very deep analysis, contemplative analysis. So you see one Muni came, one Muni standing, he is Vatsa Mahamuni. There are 32 Mahamunis or Maharishis being mentioned in Aruna Prashna. And there are so many disciples, they will be asking some questions, and he will be answering their questions. So on the Bhumi chapter, it is in the 23rd Anuvakam of Aruna Prashna. It has got 15 mantras. So first 1 to 13, that it starts with Abhava, Idamasan, Salilam Eva, that's from it starts. And in there it talks about the creation of earth. I will tell you the story in a minute. And it ends with 23.14, actually it's not 4, it is 14 I think. Sorry, 4. In 4, he says, Shariram Adhunuta. Adhunuta means just like doing like this, something like that. Then we talk about, then in 14 actually talks about the summary. 15th talks about what's the use. Then we have, like to give a perspective. This is how the space is. It is not a plane. Minutes. 10 minutes. Yeah. So this is a space-time fabric. Sorry, continue. Sure. So this is a space-time fabric. This is how the space is. So imagining the space is very difficult. So scientists came up with this model. So it is like a sagara. It is full of waves, with peaks and troughs. Continue. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Because I would like to give the perspective of science. Without knowing science, it is very difficult it's very counterintuitive to know certain things. So that's why I'm here. Okay. So see, it is ups and downs. It is going like this. So where are the planets? Planets are like this. This is our Earth, and the next one is a small one is our Moon. So when Earth is placed, you see a big dip. So that dip is because of the fields. So that's gravity. I will give you more details very soon, but for just try to put in this information, try to digest this information for now. On the right hand side, you see 3. So the heavier one, which has got more deeply pulled in, and the mid-size one has somewhat pulled in somewhat. That the third one is very lightly pulled in. That's how the space is. Akasha is gives the one which gives the opportunity. We'll come back there. So this is Akasha. It is giving the opportunity for the plant to stay inside. Okay. Then I'll give you one more thing, because this is also counterintuitive. One is the sun, the other one is earth. See, in between there is a huge wave. You can see this is a huge wave. So this is a huge ship. Next to the ship there is a small boat. When both are traveling with this, it will create huge waves, whereas this creates small waves. So that's where the turbulence happens. So if they're distant apart, the turbulence effect is smaller. When they're close, the turbulence might turn the earth upside down. So this is what is. Third one is what we should know is earth is not rotating the sun the way we think in two-dimensional page. That's how it is rotating. So that is how it is rotating. You see, earth is actually going through a fence. The military fence you have got on the borders and things like that. That's how the earth is actually rotating, while sun is rotating. Sun is traveling straight through it. So sometimes earth is running or rotating faster than the sun. It has to, because it has to advance. So that is that. With that, you will get into our mantras and we analyze what it is saying. So this is another small figure I gave. This is the galaxies. I gave 3 galaxies putting together in a graphical form, and it has got more depth in it. And by the way, those are all small stars, and these are all huge galaxies. Now Aruna Prashna, we'll stop here. Aruna Prashna talks about a story. So there is a Prajapati sitting on a lotus leaf, or sleeping on his lotus leaf, suddenly gets up and he's thought of doing the creation. Then he underwent tapasya. During the tapasya, after tapasya, he might have done for millions of years in our year, and he opens his eyes and he does this. He shuffles his body. During the shuffling, it's very interestingly, where am I? I don't have. Okay. So Rishis has come up. So some Rishis came up with nails, some Rishi groups came up with hair, some Rishis came up with his sweat, and a total came from with the rasa, his life energy. Then there is a turtle, but he did not believe, he did not plan to create a turtle. He was surprised to this turtle, and he asked, "How did you come? Because I did not create you yet. How did you come?" Then the turtle says, "I am there all the time. I am eternal. You just came in." Oh, then it is interesting. Prajapati contemplates, how come this happens? Then he realizes he is none other than the Adi Narayana, Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. So then he says, "Oh, you are the ultimate. You create the universe. Then he will honor his request and he starts creating the universe. When he is creating the universe, he takes palm full of water and he offers. By the way, at that time, it is full of water. Earth is full of water. There is no landmass. It's just water all over. Then he takes palm full of water and offers this water. And whatever direction he poured the water, from that direction he asked sun to rise. And sun rises. But that direction is called east. Then he took another palm full of water and offers, asks Agni to come from west. And another palm offers another palm full of water and asks air or Vayu to come from west, rise from west. And another palmful and he will ask Indra to come from north. Then another palmful and ask Earth to come up from the waters, emerge from waters. So water comes from, water, Earth is inside and it comes up. Then he offers another palmful and he throws the water up and asks all the devatas to come. When he is throwing water up, you have got gaps. Some water comes down, some droplets falls down. That is not his intention. Intention is to only invite devatas. But when he throws, the droplets come in, that is unintentional. From that unintentional water droplets, Pisachas has come, demons has come, Rakshasas has come. It is just to make the balance. But anyway, I'll come back to it. So the next one he will offer few more and ask plantation to come and Pitras layers to establish and all other upper layers above the Indra layer to establish. So that's the story. So what exactly is this? What exactly this is, how a scientist will think about the story, a metaphorical explanation of the earth creation. So as I said, the first diagram is a very smaller compared to the second one. This is, by the way, this is done by my daughter. I gave my idea and she put together this diagram, this paint. So this droplet, and with the gravity, it started pulling, Earth started pulling all other dust and gas, and it will became bigger and bigger. And the third diagram, actually you see, the land mass is inside the waters. That is when Paramatma asked the land mass to rise. And the fourth one is what we are in. But remember, this is one piece when Paramatma asked land mass to come up, emerge, right? So that's one piece, not 7 continents. Okay, and this is the evolution of land mass. But there is no atmospheric layers in this one, but we will see in a minute. This is my work. The whole story that I told you, this is what it is. So this one, this diagram is before Prajapati and our turtle created this land mass, earth, and this one is after this conversation, after he is offering his palm full of water and ask one after the other. How? In here, if you see, this particular portion is south. This is south, this is south, and this is south. And this is sun, and this particular portion is north. Before this Prajapati actually, started this creation, earth is like that. That means it only saw the south. Sun, only observer on south side only see the sun. The observer on the north side never saw the sun. He never exposed to the sun. The way we are never exposed to other side of the moon today. We only see the moon, only one side of the moon. The other side we don't know. Recently, India and US made a joint venture to see what's there in the other side of the moon. But moon is also rotating, but its axis is like this. The axis is like this, not a tilted axis the way we have. That's why we don't see what is there in the other side of the sun. It is the same story at that point of time. So if you keep that in mind, there are 2 observers here. One observer is here, Prajapati is here, and observer like you and I are in this room. So we are looking at this diagram. This is our observation, and Prajapati is here, was here. Then you remember, first he poured the water and asked the sun to rise. Sun is already there. Sun is not rising. It's just a story. But what is sun rising means, this guy, from an observer from this side, saw it first time here. How? So it has to rotate this way. Unless it rotates the other way, he can never see the sun. That means rotation started at that time. Okay, if it is rotating that way, will I have, why this way? So that, and this tilt happens. See, look at this axis. Now north south is here. Earlier north south is here. When the tilt is happened here, it started from, and earth is rotating from here to here. So it is rotating this direction, and this is west, by the way. Since this is east and this is west, so west to east, it is rotating from east to east. Similarly, the north went north, actual north today. Earlier north is here and now north is here. That is Indra. Okay, so this is Indra and this is Agni. See, suddenly earlier the south is here and it went somewhere down. That is now south is where it is. So this is the interpretation that I have done. Now, what are the Devatas doing here? Devatas are our layers, atmospheric layers are our Devatas. If the atmosphere itself is not there, there is no possibility of life. We will die in no time. Everything will vanish in no time. So the Devatas are actually protecting us from the electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation is the enemy in Aruna Prashna. It is not Rakshasas with unimaginable sizes and shapes. It is just electromagnetic radiation. It is continuously coming, and it is trying, our atmospheric laser continuously trying to protect. So here around the sun, around the earth, see now already the greenery started, water came in and everything came in here. So this is my interpretation from this state. Is our story is telling. And this is a completely new hypothesis. No scientist told us before. So that's why I made a book for it. So this is our Vedas interpretation of, at least not Vedas interpretation. In Aruna Prashna, that is what has been mentioned. In Vedas, there are so many ways, so many times, so much of explanation. But in Aruna Prashna, it is very simple. So that simplicity, I made this particular diagram, and I came up with this hypothesis. Okay. And what is this? What is this? Why Paramatma, Prajapati did this one? That's important. We need to know what is that. That's the turbulence. Let me see whether I have the turbulence here. No, I don't have turbulence here. So the turbulence is this one. This is a bit important. Just pay close attention. Here is the sun and here is earth, right? If a planet, this is a wave. Earlier we saw the waves, right? If a planet moves, some foreign planet, somewhere, it's coming from somewhere, and it moves in between these two. So there is one big ship and there is a small boat going peacefully, whatever it is. Suddenly one big ship comes in between them, then it will start huge ripples in the ocean, right? Same thing, the ripples will happen. That's called gravitational waves, right? Those will happen, and it will because its mass, it will undergo much more turbulences than sun do. Okay, that turbulence is our Vedas mentioned very simple word, very nice word. Did I put this one? Okay, adhunuta. Adhunuta means, traditional interpretation is this, but space interpretation is the turbulence. Something happened, some cosmological event is happened, some planet or some, it not necessarily in between them. It can be away from earth also, away from the moon, away from the sun, but close to the sun, the other side. So yeah, so that could have happened here also. Even that point also it will undergo turbulence. That turbulence made the small land mass to emerge from waters. And simply our mantras is very simple explanation, just 13 mantras. If you can, I mean, when Panditji chants this one, it may not take more than 3 minutes. The entire science in 3 minutes. The decode that it took 5 years for me, just for just this mantra. So that's power of our mantras. Just pay attention and be careful. Okay, that's that. So far so good. Is it even understandable? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Because everything is so silent, I don't know what's happening. Anyway. So two greatest scientists of our times is one is Newton, the other one is Einstein. Both talked about gravity. One observed apple falling from the tree. The other one other one said there is no gravity. There is no force. Gravity is not even a force. So we will see that in a minute. So those two scientists put together a nice model about this gravity, this attraction, the force. But our Vedas talked about the same concept in a beautiful way. We will see that. Very simple. I mean, if the Artha chapter, the Artha mantras takes for him to read 3 minutes, it only takes 1 minute. But in 1 minute, they explain the beautiful science of gravity. We'll see in a minute. Okay, sorry. Again, the model is first I have to explain the science, right? That science, what is this? What does it say? What is happening? Yeah. So time is rotating. Okay. If there is no observation, there is no time. You cannot measure time. That's called event in space, in cosmos, right? In astrology, it's called event. So in SI systems, we have got cesium atom, right? The vibrations is 1/10 billionth, 10 billionth time of the cesium 33 atoms ground state hyper fine transition frequency. With that particular time, that's called second, all other units have merged, like minute, 60 minutes, 60 seconds is a minute, 60 minutes an hour, 24 hours is a day, and all that, right, from year and all that. So they have got very small unit of time, and we developed all other units of time. Okay, that's good. So why I said time to gravity? That's an important question you will be asked. But just be there. I will connect both of them in a minute. So Newton asked himself, why the apple is always coming straight to the center? Why it is not going up? Why it's not going sideways? Then he concluded that Earth has got a property draw things, right? I mean, that's a simple observation. And then he concluded Earth has got a drawing power. So that means matter has a drawing power. And he created all kinds of formulas which are valid, by the way. It only valid 200 years. After 200 years, it is not even a, then what happened? Einstein came and he said it is not even a force. Gravity is not even a force. There is no force at all. He said gravity is a consequence of space-time. We saw the space-time. You saw that waves going like that. That's space-time. I will tell you why it is a space-time in a minute. Just give me a minute. Here, he said it is not a force. Then if it is not a force, why it is attracted? Why the apple is always falling, to the ground, and why Earth is rotating around the sun all the time? It should go away. It should move away on its own, right? But it is still moving. So there is some attraction. Then what is it? Then he said, that's the consequence of space-time itself. What is space-time then? So let's see. So space is like a fabric. It's like a cloth. So if you have a cloth, it is a soft cloth. It's not a stiff cloth. So it can bend, you can hold, you can fold, all that, right? So this is simple. So when you have something like this, if you put an object, it will go deep. He said space itself is like a cloth. That's called space-time fabric. Fabric is cloth. He said, because it's like that, if you put a heavier object, it goes more deeper into the space-time. If you put a lighter object, it will go less deeper into the object. It is the property of the space, nothing to do with the matter itself. So that's then all the Newtonian physics is about the gravity is no more valid. But it hold good for 200 years. Even it is still good today mathematically, but by concept it is not there. Anyway, space-time fabric is constantly changing. Yes. Why the waves are coming? If it is a cloth, if somebody is holding, it should be stable. But why it is always moving? The way we saw the picture, it is moving because in the space, matter is moving, sun is moving, earth is moving, and supernovas happening. All so it will whenever supernova happen. That means if the star burns out, it will push so much energy. If the black holes collide, it will push so much energy. The space is full of energy. That's cosmic energy. That energy and matter, it will ripple. So that means if for example, if there is a pond and somebody is keep on throwing raw, if you throw one stone, it will have a ripple and it will settle down after some time. What happens if 10 people constantly is throwing one after the other? There will be waves all the time. So it is exactly like that. Our space-time exactly like that. There is a collapse of stars and colliding of black holes, and matter is moving in space-time. So everything is causing the ripples. That's why you saw the ripples. That is called samudra. Samudra. Samudra by definition is three swaras, right? Samudra. That is called samudra. Samudra is not necessarily ocean the way you see on the ground. It could be space is also samudra. And ambaram, akasham, we will see in a minute. So, in one more thing, Einstein said, earlier I shown you the cloth and it is pulling down, but that's not right. What is right is this, close to right is this. It is actually crushed by, it is pulled, the warping actually, it is called, it's pulled all the directions. Earth is actually protected all the directions by gravity. It is not just one direction. In here you saw, this is easy to understand, but it is not correct because above also there is a dip. So it is like there is a ball here and there is a earth here and around it there is a gravity. So if you can imagine a water tank, aquarium, and if you put a ball there, if you put a ball and hold it in the middle, water is around it, right? It is like that. The ocean, the space-time is around it, every object. Anyway, so that is that. And so the ripples, about coming to the ripples, physicist J.A. Wheeler said, when matter rolls, when matter moves in space-time, it curves the space-time because it has got mass. If it is heavier, it will tell space-time how deep it has to go. On the other hand, space-time tells how the matter to move because it gives the curve and mass will move as per the curve. So both are mutually helping each other. We dependent on each other and helping each other to move. And I put the same diagram here for to make you understand. So again Vatsumahamuni came and there are students and they will ask you questions. What questions did they ask? They asked so many questions. First question they asked is, where are all the units of time? And they asked the day, night, fortnight, 15 days, month, seasons, there are 2 months, right? Year are residing. Then also ask about the Truti, Lipta, all kinds of time units they asked actually. Then they asked, where are these water bearing clouds residing? So they saw the Ambaram, right? They saw this clouds, then they saw where exactly it is. It is not on earth. Where exactly it is? That's a very important question to understand. But anyway, so now next one is where are sometimes the water goes, because if you see water in pond, sometimes it will go down, right? Where is this water gone? So Vatsumanamani answered, all the time units reside in waters. Kalapsi nivishanti. That's what he said. He did not explain any other units. All he said is Kalapsi nivishanti. Then, okay, 5 more minutes. It's okay, okay. Kalapsi nivishanti. Very important statement. It is like a Mahavakya. We will see why it is a Mahavakya in a minute. Kala apsini vishanti. That's all he said. Then he said, where the water resides? Water resides in sunrays. He said water resides in sunrays. Then he said water evaporates by sunrays forming the clouds. Where the water clouds came from, that's the question, right? Then he said, he gave additional information. The way our masters do, when we ask a question, he will also give additional information, make you understand the concept, right? Same thing Vatsa Mahamuni did. That's the tradition that's the lineage we are following. He said lightning is also associated with sunlight. So we will see what does it really mean. So we observe Earth is rotating, Earth is rotation, revolution and water cycle. We observe three things on Earth, right? So based on three observations, we came up with our time units. Rotation gives day and night, revolution gives month and year. So when it is rotating around the sun, it takes 365 days, right? And we have got 12 Adityas, one for each month. So each month Aditya, why each month? Why it is the same Aditya, then why do we need 12? Because every month he gives you a different, he behaves differently on the earth. Starting from Chaitra Masa, if you take the cycle, in Chaitra Masa he behaves differently compared to the Kartika Masa. So since his behavior is changing, his influence is changing, we came up with 12. Because every day is changing, but we categorized into 12. So those 12 was 12 months. So this is observation about the revolution. So then seasonal changes, seasons is based on our clouds, water cycles. Every 2 months the clouds changes, Sharad Ritu, Hemant Ritu and everything. Okay, that's the observation. Here, this is my observation. So just let's pay some little attention to this one. Remember, he said Kala Apsu Nivishanti, right? What is this really Apsu doing? What is the Apsu waters means? If the water really mean water, physical water, you should find time in your swimming pools, in the ponds in the villages, waters in the rivers or ocean. You don't find, if you jump, you deep dive into river, you don't find time units there. Then what does it really mean? Definitely it is not water the way, it's simple meaning of water, it could be something else. So what I believe, I would like to see the Nigantu and see the alternate meanings for Apsu. One interesting thing for me is what I say is Antariksham. In Yaska Niruktam it says Antariksham. Then I found out what is Antariksham really mean. Then it came up with Akasham, Ambaram, Samudraha. There are so many things, but I just took three for this context. Akasham is the one, the further etymology of this Akasham is the one which gives the opportunity for objects to live or stay. Then Ambaram. Ambaram is cloth. Suklam Bharadaram is a cloth. But Ambaram is just not a cloth. What happens if it doesn't bend? That is not called Ambaram. It is not because of the warps and webs of the wood. It is the nature of the bending. That is called warping. So you can cover some object with that particular, it can cover some object. That's why it is called Ambaram. Next one is Samudraha. We saw already Samudraha. Sam Uttudra. Sam is nicely, Ut means up, Dra means flows, right? Very simple Sanskrit. So the one which flows upwards, as we see, is oceanic waves. Now, leave. This is the last one. Last one. Yeah. This is the last one. We will just finish. I know. So here, very important thing is this. I know. Oh, is that right? Oh, so you want to talk? Oh, sorry. I'm taking all the time maybe.
No problem.
Conclude. Yeah, this probably, yeah. So when you see this box, you have got 2 points on the box. That is three-dimensional box. In the three-dimensional box, you have 2 points where you can measure the point with x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Length, depth and height. You can point anything in this universe as long as it doesn't move. But when it starts moving, we have a problem. We have a problem with when it starts moving in space-time. So this is the this is how it is explained. Okay, that how it explains? We have got a fourth dimension called a T, that's time. So all these 3 dimensions in this box came into one axis in this box, also one direction, and this one is time axis. So when observer, when a person moves only in time, he is not making any advance in space. If when a person moves only in space, he is not making any advance in time. So this area is the only possibility for that guy can move in space as well as in time. So that's what our mantra says. Our mantra says Kala Apsi Nivishante, that means time is a coordinate in space time. Apsu is space time. That's my conclusion on time. And the last one, I think this is the gravity. And gravity, they asked what is holding, so the clouds going up, right? Why it stayed there? Why it did not move indefinitely above, away from Earth? It stayed there for some reason. So asking who is holding it? Then Vatsa Mahamani said, Vishnu is the one who is holding it. Then they asked, where is he getting that energy? Then Vatsa Mahamani said, Vayu is actually giving his energy. Okay, we saw the Vayu we saw the ups and downs in the space time. Vayu is Vata, right? Vata is actually basically it moves one object from one place to another place. That's the object, that's the definition of the Vayu. So this wave motion of space time actually moves objects. That's the Vata. That's what I derive. So when I said, I will conclude in a second. I think that's what it is. So Vata, it is coming from the Vata. So then they asked, who are the helpers of Vishnu? I know he has got a lot of strength. Who are the things which are helping? He said Agni and Vayu and all the avatars. So that is the resultant of all the energies which we talked about. The black holes, when the black holes emerge, there is a gravitational wave energy. When the supernova happens, there is energy release. All these energies and movements, that's the one which is giving energy to this gravity, that is Lord Vishnu. Okay, that's in a nutshell, and this is a summary of what I said. So Vishnu is gravity that is holding the earth and heaven. Heaven means is not a Swarga. I mean, for the science, it is clouds and the atmospheric layers. All the atmosphere above the clouds. Clouds will only in the stratosphere, right? Above all also is actually protecting the sun. That's all together it is heaven. Then Abhitaha. Abhitaha means, he very cleverly mentioned, it is Abhitaha means from the all sides. Newton said only one directional, it is only coming down, but Einstein said it's all sides. So Abhitaha means all sides. So it is Vishnu is protecting earth and clouds from all sides. How? They asked how. Then he said Mayukhaihi. He said, Sainacharya said it is thread-like thing which is in Mayukhaihi. By the definition, it is rays. Mayukhaihi is rays, but Sainacharya mentioned it is thread. Like people hold things from the like thread. He is putting like a thread, and some other interpretations put nails. So when you put nail, it will be very tight. So that tightness actually Vishnu is protecting the earth and clouds together. Then Vata, I just mentioned Vata, he is ups and down motions of the space time. Then various Vayus and Vishnu and the quantum fields in space time, which is known quantum fields are working together, produce the gravitational effect as we observe. And time, Kala Apsi Nivishante describes time component of space time, and gravity, the Vishnu, describes warping nature of space time. Together they are describing space time nature of the space time. So that's the diagram, and I put some for information. You can pause this video whenever you want to read what is Apsu, what is Abhitaha, what is Mayukhaihi, what is Vataha. That's about it. And this is my request. We have got 4 Mahavakyas, one in each Veda. But when there is enormous commentary written by so many great scholars over thousands of years. But what I think is, what I think is these Kala Apsi Nivishante, Vata Hari Vishnur Balamahu, Kadiptikim Parayanam, Agneya Vayavasyaiva, Yadadasya Parayanam, all these also to be considered as Mahavakyas for the science people. I mean, for all 4 is for the moksha and the value and the knowing the self. But these things are for the scientists. These are all Mahavakyas for scientists who have a lot more to know about our science and how the mother nature. And this is my proposal. This is my last slide. So what I think is, I would like to inspire scientists to look into our Vedic scriptures and see what we do not know as of today. And Veda has got so many things. I just only explained few mantras, right? But Veda is so enormous. If we start encoding, we may reveal so many new things in what we do not know. And another thing is, I would like this information, this kind of analysis or frameworks to be coming into the education institutions right from the very tender age, like middle school. Then I also would like to know, I would like to also propose like Veda Pandits, Sanskrit Pandits, where they will actually give the Nirukta definitions, or they can develop Nirukta definitions as per the context. And of course, scientists, respective scientists, come together, sit together, and analyze together and see the more unknown things to the science today. Thank you.
Darshanam